Hi there, and welcome to another one of my videos on how to use Excel and its solver add-in to find solutions to everyday business problems that have to deal with asset allocation, resource allocation, budgeting, and so forth. So before I begin on this actual problem, I just want to mention two things. First, I'm going to move a bit faster in this one because there are more parts to this problem. If I go too slow or at my normal pace, it will be a long video, so I am going to move a bit faster. If you need to pause and rewind, feel free to do so. Second, if you are watching this on YouTube, please refer to the description below the video, and in the description you will find a link to the actual blog post for this problem, where I have the problem typed out in long form, and I also have a link to the blank spreadsheet where you can download it and follow right along with this video and type in everything that I type, so you can see exactly how it's working in real time. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our problem. And what we have here is a company which I've called Sugar High Grain that is introducing a new cereal called Sugar O's, and they want to expose that cereal to the public as much as possible since it is a new cereal. What they're going to do is they have chosen 3 advertising mediums: TV spots, magazine ads, and Sunday circulars, which are the big packet of ads you get in most Sunday papers. And they want to find out what's the best mix of ads that will expose the cereal to as many people as possible within their target demographics at the lowest possible cost. And basically that's what this problem is all about. Now, of course, it's going to be more complex than that, but that's the gist of what we're trying to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the spreadsheet so we can see how it's laid out and what each part is going to be doing in our problem. Now at the top you will notice 3 salmon color cells here at the top, and those are TV spots, magazine ads, and Sunday circular ads. And that's the number of exposures that type of ad is expected to generate. A certain number of people are expected to see a Saturday morning TV spot. A certain number of people are expected to see a magazine and the Sunday circular, and so forth. So basically that is the number of people we expect to actually see the ad. Now below that, of course, we have cost. With any advertising budget, there's going to be a cost associated. In this case, it's split into 2 different subgroups. We have the actual ad budget, which is the cost of the actual ad itself. And then we have the ad's planning budget, which is the cost of putting the ad together to show or to print or whatever. And then over to the right, you will see budget available. And of course, Sugar High Grain has set a limit on what it's willing to spend on the ads and the planning. So that will be a constraint in our problem that we cannot exceed. Now below that, we have number reached per ad in millions. What we're doing here is splitting our demographics into our 2 target groups. We're interested in young children seeing this ad and the parents of young children seeing this ad. And of course, for each one of those groups, each advertising medium will have an expected number it's going to reach. So that's sort of the number of eyeballs we can expect to see our ad. Now at the end of that row in the blue, you'll see where it says minimum acceptable. Sugar High Grain has set a minimum requirement on the number of people in each one of those groups that are going to see the ad. It cannot go below that amount. So whatever our solution is, we at least have to have that number of young children and that number of parents of young children seeing the ad. In the next row below that, we have coupon redemption. And of course, a popular way to get people to buy your product, especially when it's new, is to offer some sort of cents off coupon, 50 cents off, 25 cents off, $1 off, whatever it might be. So in the ad budget, Sugar High Grain has set aside a specific amount of money to have for coupons. And if you look over on the right, it says required amount. The budget for the coupons is fixed. Once they're printed, the coupons are out there. So that would be a fixed required amount. Down below that, this is where Excel is going to do its magic. Now, one thing to keep in mind before I talk about the number of ads, at the very bottom, you'll see where it says maximum TV spot. The marketing department in Sugar High Grain has said is that whatever solution we come up with, we cannot have more than 5 TV spots. So we are putting a constraint on the number of TV spots we can have in our solution. Then above that, where it says number of ads, this is actually what Excel is going to find for us. So Excel is going to find the optimum number of each type of ad in order to expose our product to the maximum number of people in our target demographics. And it's going to do that, if you look over to the very right bottom, in a way that maximizes our exposure within our budget, our minimum number of acceptable exposures in our groups, and with our coupons. So Excel is going to find the number of ads that maximizes our total exposures within our budget and viewing constraints. So the first thing we need to do is we need to name some cell regions, and in this problem there are several. So you just need to follow along and pause if you need to, because I think there are about 14 different regions we're going to name. And again, we name cell regions so we can use the actual names and formulas, and in the solver it's easier than remembering cell regions like C8 to D11 or something. So we're going to give them names. So the first group we're going to name is actually the budget available cells. So it will be the two blue cells under budget available. We will right click, go down to define name, and I'm just going to take out the underscore. We're going to call it budget available. We'll leave scope to workbook since this is the only sheet we're going to be doing this on, and we'll go ahead and click OK. All right, and the next group we're going to do are the purple cells to the left of budget available, and we're going to right click, select define name, and we're going to call that budget spent. So I'll just delete the underscore and click OK. Now these cells, these purple cells, Excel will also find those in order, well, Excel will find our solution at the bottom, and then based on our solution it will multiply up and over to tell us exactly how much we're spending within our budget. We may spend it all, we may not. So that's actually the real world expenditure in this case. Okay, we're going to keep going to the left. So we're going to highlight the 6 brownish cells to the left of budget spent. So we're going to highlight that, define name, and these are called cost per ad. Okay, so that region is called cost per ad. We'll go ahead and click OK. The next thing we're going to name is, we're going to skip down to coupons here. And so the 3 cells on the coupon redemption row, we'll right click, select define name, and this is actually called coupon redemption per ad. Coupon redemption per ad. Go ahead and click OK. Okay, now we're going to jump back up. The reason we're jumping around is because these are in alphabetical order, so that's why we're not going in a more logical manner, I guess. Alright, so we're going to highlight the 3 salmon color cells at the very top. We'll right click, define name. Of course, this is exposures per ad. Exposures per ad. And again, I capitalized the first letter of each word and squished it all together, just as a naming convention that's easy to follow. So exposures per ad, we'll go ahead and click OK. Now we're going to jump down to the very bottom next to maximum TV spots. So we're going to right click, select define name, and this is called max TV spots. Max TV spots. Go ahead and click OK. Alright, the next thing we're going to name is the minimum acceptable, the 2 blue cells there. So we'll go down to define name. Those are called minimum acceptable. Go ahead and click OK. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is number of ads. And this is the light blue row at the very bottom, towards the very bottom. And again, this is what Excel is going to find for us. So we're going to define name. And that is called number of ads. So I'm going to change the O there. Number of ads. Good. Alright, now we're going to go up to the middle of our spreadsheet where it says number reached per ad. We'll highlight that brown region there, right click, define name. And this is number reached per ad. Number reached per ad. Go ahead and click OK. Our next cell we're going to name is the cell under required amount. So we'll right click, define name. And this is actually required amount. Required amount. Go ahead and click OK there. A few more. Okay, the pink cell at the very bottom right is the next thing we're going to name. So we'll highlight that cell, define name. And again, this is total exposures. Total exposures. Now we're going to jump back up to the two cells below total reached. So we'll right click, define name, and this is called total reached. Click OK. And the next is the cell below total redeemed. So we'll select that cell, define name, and name that total redeemed. And click OK. And the last one is going to be TV spots. Now, before I do this one, remember that this cell under TV spots is also in the region we named number of ads. However, a cell can be in two regions. That's completely fine. Just depends on how you use it. So we're going to right click that one cell, define name, and this is called TV spot. And go ahead and click OK. And I'll tell you right now, the reason we had to name TV spots is so we could compare that single cell to the maximum TV spot cell. Because remember, we cannot have more than 5 TV spots, so we have to have a way of comparing the two. And that's why we named TV spots, technically in 2 different regions. So we got all the regions named and everything like that. So now we're going to put in, I think it's 4 formulas. So we're going to go to the cell under budget spent, so that the top of those 2 cells, and we're going to put in a formula that is equals sum product. In previous videos I explained what this function does, but I'm not going to do so here. So if you're curious about how it works, just feel free to Google it, or better yet, watch one of my other videos and you'll see exactly how it works. So we're going to do sum product. We're going to select C7 through E7, okay, which is the 3 cells to the left of that, comma. And we're going to multiply that by the number of ads Excel finds for us. So we're going to multiply and then add in the function number of ads. Okay, so that formula should read sum product, parentheses, C7 to E7, comma, number of ads. Okay, hit enter. Now we also want that formula in the cell below, so I'm just going to drag down. And if you notice, if I click on that one cell below it, now it's changed to C8 to E8. So that's pretty handy. But the number of ads stays the same. So again, that's another reason why we name those, because it's a lot easier to work with in formulas. Okay, so we're going to jump down to total reached, and this will be very similar. This is going to equal sum product. And we're going to select the 3 cells. Oops. I didn't select the function. Sum product. There we go. Now we'll select the 3 cells to the left of that. Comma. And again, number of ads. Just like that. Close parentheses. Go back up and just drag down. All right. Now, total redeem, this one will be a little bit different. We're still going to use sum product, so equals sum product. This will be coupon redemption per ad. So it's on our list, which is actually the 3 next to it as well. Comma. And that will also be number of ads. Okay, so that cell is sum product of coupon redemption per ads and number of ads. Go ahead and click enter there. Of course, these are all going to be 0 right now because we don't have any data in the cell, so that's why they're all 0. Okay, and the last one we need is sort of our holy grail of the problem, and that is our total exposures. And this one should also make sense. So sum product. Now, what two rows, if we multiply corresponding cells together and then add that to the next two corresponding cells and then add that to the next ones, what two rows are going to tell us our total number of exposures? Well, one is going to depend on how many ads of each medium we've bought, and then it's going to involve the number of exposures each type has. So, of course, that's going to be our exposures per ad up here at the top. Exposures per ad, comma. Then we're going to multiply that using the sum product function with the number of ads, and that should make sense. Now, real quickly, I'll kind of show you exactly how that's going to work, and this is the same for any sum product function in our spreadsheet. What this is going to do is it's going to take this cell under TV spots, our exposures, number of exposures, multiply that by how many TV ads we have. So multiply those together. Then we're going to add magazine ads times magazine ads here at the bottom, plus Sunday Circular ads and SS ads down here. This times this, plus this times this, plus this times this. And that's what the sum product function actually does. So all of our formulas are in there. So I'm going to go ahead and begin typing in data. So we'll go up here to the very top. TV spots will reach 1.3 million people. So again, this is in thousands. So this is 1,300 thousands. All right, so 1,300. Magazines are 600,000. And the Sunday ads are 500,000. And I'm going to center these because I'm a neat freak. All right. So we're going to go down below in cost per ad. Now the TV spot is going to cost $300,000. The magazine ad spot will cost $150,000. And the Sunday ad will cost $100,000. Now the planning for each is $90,000 for TV, $30,000 for magazine, and $40,000 for Sunday ad. Let's go back up here. Now, we've set a budget, an ad budget of $4 million. So this is in thousands, so that's 4,000 thousands. And for planning, it's $1 million, which is 1,000 thousands. And again, I'm just going to go through here and center everything. Okay, so let's look at this real fast. The TV spot will be $300,000 per ad. The magazine, $150,000 per ad. The Sunday ad is $100,000 per ad. But however many amount of each we have cannot add up to more than $4 million. Okay? Same thing for the planning, except those cannot add up to more than $1 million. So as far as our demographic information goes, our Saturday morning TV spot, of course during cartoons, of course, will reach 1.2 million children. The magazine will reach 0.1 million young children. And the Sunday ads will reach 0. Okay? There aren't many 4, and 5, and 6-year-olds reading the Sunday paper. So that would be pretty interesting, but in this case, it doesn't really help us. So that's 0. Sugar High Grain must reach, in this advertising campaign, 5 million young children. That's sort of the bottom floor they have set. Okay, now we go into parents of young children. So this is going to be 500,000 for the Saturday morning TV spot. Okay. 0.2 million for the magazine. And again, 0.2 million for the Sunday ads. And Sugar High Grain is not willing to accept less than 5 million young children seeing the ad and less than 5 million parents of young children seeing the ad. Okay, so coupon redemption. Now, there aren't many coupons on TV, at least yet. There will be. We'll hold our cell phones up to the TV and scan something, and then we'll have a coupon on our phone. I'm sure we'll have it at some point. But in this one, we do not right now. So we have 0 coupons in the TV spot, and we're going to allow 40,000 in coupon redemption for the magazine, and we're going to have 120,000 in coupon redemption for the Sunday ads, which should make a whole lot of sense. The Sunday paper is a big ball of ads, so we expect to have a ton of coupon redemptions in the Sunday paper. And they have set this at $1,490,000. So again, that's in thousands. I'm going to go ahead and center this. And that. I never did center these. I'll do that while I'm here. So as I'm doing this, you can see that this problem is chock full of constraints, both on the maximum side, constraints on the minimum side, and then the coupon redemption, we have an exact equivalent, constraint. So this is a really complex problem with a lot of moving parts, and that's why it takes a little bit longer to set up. Okay, and then the last thing we need to type in is the very bottom, maximum TV spots. Remember I said this is 5. And that just means that whatever number of ads Excel comes up with, the TV spots cell cannot be more than 5. That's sort of the limit they have set. And of course, if you look at the cost, TV ads are extremely expensive, especially on Saturday morning when cartoons are going on. So it'd be really easy to eat up an entire ad budget just on TV commercials. So we have everything typed in terms of data. Our exposures per ad, our ad budgets and planning budget. And of course, that has to be below a certain amount we've set over on the budget available side. We have the number we expect to reach, okay, per type of ad in terms of young children and parents of young children. And we've set a floor, a minimum, on how many we're willing to reach in this ad campaign. Below that, we have coupon redemptions. And again, that's just a way to get people to buy your product, especially for the first time. So we've allowed $40,000 in magazine coupons, $120,000 in the Sunday ads, and whatever combination we come up with has to equal $1.49 million in coupons. Okay, let me center that. All right, and finally we've set the number of TV spots to a maximum of 5. So that is all of our data typed in. It's a lot of data. So let's go ahead and get the solver and solve this problem. Okay, now of course the solver is under data, and over on the right, if this is your first video with me, in other videos I tell you how to install the solver in Excel. I'm not going to do that here because I know you're smart and you can Google it and figure it out. But it is an add-in that's not, I don't think, installed by default for whatever reason. So you'll actually have to activate the add-in to use it. I'm going to go ahead and click solver. Okay, a lot of stuff going on in the solver, but I'll walk you through each one, and hopefully when we press our button at the bottom, we'll get the answer we want. So the first option in the solver parameters is set objective. Okay, so what are we trying to do here? What's our ultimate goal? We're trying to maximize the number of exposures of our ad. So where it says set objective, whatever cell in our spreadsheet we're trying to maximize, that will be what we put there. So of course, in our case, it is total exposures. Okay. Now if you want, you could also click the cell down there. Whoops. If you want. But I named them, so I'll go back to total exposures. And where it says 2, we're maximizing. We want to maximize our exposures. Oops, I double-clicked too much. There we go. Now, we want to tell Excel, what do we want Excel to manipulate and change in order to maximize our total exposures? Well, in this case, if you remember, we want Excel to figure out the number of each type of ad we should buy or invest in order to maximize our total exposures. So in this case, it is number of ads, which is this row of 3 light blue cells here at the bottom. So, maximize our total exposures by manipulating the number of ads. And basically that's what Excel is going to find for us. Now, we do have some constraints in this problem. Actually, we have a few of them. And of course, remember, our ad budget cannot exceed our budget available. So we're going to go ahead and click Add Constraint. I might like to put it right above. In this case, budget spent must be less than or equal to budget available. Okay, so our budget spent must be less than or equal to our budget available. Click OK. All right. Now, what other constraints do we have? Well, if you remember, we have our TV constraint down here as far as the maximum number of TV spots we're willing to take. So we know that TV spots, which is the one singular blue cell under TV spots, must be less than or equal to max TV spots. Okay, so TV spots must be less than or equal to max TV spots, which we set to 5. All right, a couple more. Right, now we know that our total reached in this case must be greater than or equal to our minimum acceptable. Okay, so the total number we reach must be greater than or equal to the minimum. Again, that's our constraint, our sort of floor constraint. All right. And one more, which is about coupons. So go ahead and add another constraint. And here we have total redeemed must be equal to required amount. All right. Now, just real quick to go over this. Remember, our objective is maximum exposure. So we've set our objective to total exposures. We've set that to maximum. We want Excel to change and manipulate the number of ads. That's what it's going to solve for. Subject to a few constraints. Our budget must be less than or equal to the budget we have available. Our number of TV spots has to be less than or equal to our max TV spots. The total number we reach in each demographic must be greater than or equal to the minimum we're willing to accept. And then for the coupons, the total redeemed has to equal the required amount. So that's just an equality condition they have set in this problem. Now, two other things to make sure we have checked in the solver, and it should be by default. Down below the constraint box, it says make unconstrained variables non-negative. Make sure that's checked. And in this problem, all that means is that we cannot have negative ads. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So make sure that's checked. So Excel does not try to solve this problem by using negative numbers. And then select solving method. Select simplex LP. That just means simplex linear programming. Since our formulas here are linear, that's what we're going to select. Now, hopefully, if we have everything named right and all of our constraints set right and everything else, when we click solve, hopefully we'll get an answer. Now remember, our answer is really going to be down here in the light blue. That's what Excel is finding for us. So let's go ahead and do it. Sweet, everything looks good. So if you notice, the solver says solver found a solution, all constraints are satisfied, etc., etc., etc. We want to keep the solver solution so we can talk about it. So we'll go ahead and click OK. Now, what have we found here? Now remember, we were asking Excel to find the number of each type of ad we should buy. And if you notice, it suggests or tells us we should buy 3 TV spots, 3 Saturday morning TV spots, 14 magazine ads, and 7.75 Sunday ads. So 3, 14, and 7.75. Okay? Now, what does that tell us? By doing that, we are able to maximize our exposure out at 16,175,000. So by buying that combination of ads in the light blue, we have maximized our exposure to almost 16.2 million exposures. So that is awesome. Now, and we've done that within all the constraints we've set. So if we look up here at budget spent and budget available, our ad budget has come in actually under budget. Now our planning budget, we've used up all of that, but we did come in under budget on the ad itself. Now if we looked at minimum acceptable, we have reached our 5 million young children, and we've actually exceeded our minimum of 5 million for parents, up to 5.85. And then our coupon redemption is equal to each other, so that's good. So we have used the Excel add-in to find the maximum number of exposures, or maximize our exposures by finding the optimal set of ads to buy within our constraints of budget, minimum acceptable exposures, and coupons. So thank you for watching, and I hope you learned a lot.